Gonna have a conversation between the founders of our Black galleries in Richmond. Have a conversation about Black art, the Richmond art ecosystem, a few things that, parallel to those things. So we have Rosetta Field. He's the owner of this gallery, Southside Contemporary Art Gallery, celebrating 3 years this month. We have Aya, the founder of Chromophore ArtSpace. She's in the Arts District, the Black Gallery. Well, both of these galleries are in the Arts District. She's right by the Magdalena Walker statue, which is significant to Black enterprise in Richmond. So parallel to that space is important. She has a very special gallery, is new in the area, so it'll be important if you guys stop by after this, check out her gallery, visit her, talk to her in her space, learn more about her and her journey, past this conversation, start an ecosystem, what we kind of plan to do from this conversation forward. Silly Genius, Chris Visions, two artists in the Richmond community have been holding it down for a long time in the art community for muralists, artists, and creatives, period, being a voice for everyone involved. They're working hard to get a lot of initiatives met in the city. They own Hi.Res Gallery. They also run art club, All City Art Club, which is a group of creatives who work on murals, street projects, community projects. They build a great community. You should check them out if you haven't. It's a nice, special night to meet them. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves one time, and then we're gonna get right into it.
But you already introduced us.
No, that's what I gotta say. But this is up for you. This is context for the conversation.
Oh Lord, here we
We're
go.
gonna get right into
So
it.
I'm Aya Davis Kareem. As Murph said, the founder of Chromophore ArtSpace over on Adams near Broad. My background is primarily in architecture and interior design, and I came to my practice as an artist later in life. I always knew I wanted to be an artist from the time I was little, but I was steered into something more practical. Moved back to the Richmond area late 2022 and noticed that I had a hard time finding Black art on the walls of any of the galleries. And the Black artists that I was meeting were either vending at different pop-ups and street festivals and things like that. And so I developed this idea that I'd always had, to have a space where I could not only show and sell my work, but I could showcase the work of other artists whose work I admire. And I really kind of fell into the space. I can tell you that story at a later date. I was not ready financially or mentally, but I knew that opportunity for that space was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so I jumped, and here we are a year later. Yeah.
I'll let one of y'all introduce Hi.Res.
So like you said, Silly Genius, All City Art Club, we started in like 2017. Just like painting murals where there weren't any, mostly like Southside, this corridor. And then we just started doing art shows, trying to do like just all the weird, dirty art shit that we wanted to do, but it was always like a struggle trying to like make happen in other people's spaces. And just do a sequence of projects one after the other, forming all these relationships with people led to us meeting Alex and Dustin, and they started their nonprofit, and they decided to partner with us, and they were like, what y'all want to do? And we were like, yo, we need a space where we ain't got to ask nobody for shit. So Hi.Res was born out of that. So continuation of what we started with All City, lowbrow, pop culture, street-based art. You know what I'm saying? Chris works in comics. A lot of my love for art came from like animation and anime and comic books. So, and street and graffiti and all that stuff. So, in that lane, but like, you know what I'm saying, still black art. But yeah.
I'm gonna start with a question with you, and it's gonna circle back around because you're gonna answer this question with context anyway. So before you owned the art gallery, how active were you in the art world, and how did ownership formalize from what you were already doing? And then we can come back this way.
A lot of my engagement with the art world came from curiosity and trying to fill the gaps and kind of falling into collection. So my first piece that was given to me was from a friend. Actually, it was a Maya Shea piece, which was interesting because I ended up exhibiting her work later in Brooklyn in New York, so it was kind of like a full circle. But I started like collecting, you know, prints, you know, small pieces, things that I could, you know, pretty much afford. And from that, I realized that I could help artists share their stories in different ways, help them catalyze what they were trying to do. Even, you know, Silly, you know, like Silly was one of the first people I met here. You know, a lot of my love for art started in Jersey, you know, graffiti and kind of that gritty type of style of art, because I didn't have access to like museums and galleries. We didn't have like a lot of galleries in my city. I didn't go to a lot of field trips on a lot of museums. So my exposure to art was graffiti, and honestly what I looked at art was tributes to people losing their life, mostly to gun violence. So a lot of times if you see like a memorial, especially in most like inner cities, you'll see like candles, t-shirts, you know, that maybe their favorite alcohol, some type of altar set up to them. And to me, that was always art. You know, I always like fell in love with the fact that we could embody this tragic moment, but still make something so beautiful, you know. And I grew and started realizing that I could immerse myself, you know, in more art, engage with more people, help lift them up, but also through lifting them up and trying to help them out, just falling in love with different styles of art, going to more museums, more galleries, more shows. And when I realized I had not just a kind of a love for collection, but it evolved into curation. And even sitting down in this exhibition, this is like a pause in my practice. That's what I call it, a curatorial bookmark, because it's reflecting on where I've been, kind of where I am now and where I'm looking to go. And with my practice, I've always looked to help people kind of shift narratives, tell their narratives, transmute it, translate it some type of way, but also control their narrative. And a lot of what I do in my mental health practice, it reflects in that, and I find that intersection. So that's how I found my way into art. And then I realized I'm a collector, I'm a curator, you know. I also want to help develop artists and still, you know, figure out ways to intersect and bring in the community and make sure we're educating people about art. So after working in galleries, I realized like I might as well just open up my own gallery, and I wanted to do one back home. So that's actually how it started. I actually wanted to start a gallery back where I'm from, and that didn't work out. So it gave me more time to kind of work with different galleries. And then that kind of fell off, and then now we're here. But I think being able to learn from a lot of mistakes, a lot of tragedies, for lack of a better word, really put me in a good position to know what I need to do. Yeah, we might want to bring out some extra chairs.
Yeah. Can you bring some extra please? Thank you.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I think
Hang it up and make it work.
I appreciate that answer. Like, so you basically housing your, your ideas that you have like built from your journey into this, this one central location, and expand that. What about you, Sid? Do you remember the question?
Yeah, like being told no mostly was like the drive. You know what I mean? Like no, you know what I mean? Like so. I mean, that's kind of how I even started painting murals. Like I loved graffiti, but I never saw it as like a career. You know what I mean? And then once Richmond started embracing like murals, I said, oh shit, I can put this skill set to use now. Start painting on walls. And then wanting to bring what I'm doing on walls into the gallery space, but people would just be like, that's a bridge too far. Like, we can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't paint on the wall, you can't do this, that, and the other. Or we would have these ideas for shows that people would not see the value in. And the space was always a goal. It just took 10 years to get there, you know what I mean? So.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Before you owned the gallery, how active were you in the art world, and what did ownership formalize that you were already doing?
Well, I definitely kind of feel like in the art world, I kind of work in a lowbrow but like highly admired area of it. Like comic books is always kind of considered like cartoons, so there's like a little bit where people don't take it as seriously as an art form. And then you have movies, which are very prevalent in our society that people value. It becomes part of pop culture, and we see that reflected in the things that we wear. Even being an art teacher and working with kids, like seeing what they're interested in, like they're watching animations, they're watching video games, they're streaming, like that's part of their life. And so seeing that intersection and realizing that there was a hand at the door every time we were trying to get that put on a platform where people can enjoy it and it's accessible, we kept getting pushback. So being told no, for sure. Seeing something that people can't really believe in yet or see the residuals or physical proof of it, but us believing of it and doing it enough where we see the results and we're like, guys, the math is mathing. Like, it's that easy. So it was a real blessing to work with Dustin and Alex because they saw that and believed in it. And when you're doing this kind of work, it can be a thing where people think it's easy, or they only look at the like really pretty parts of it, but they don't understand that the heart of it is like community. And then also for me personally, like I owe my art career and like path to my mom taking me to my first art show, getting me to be a part of the art guild back in Rockbridge County, telling me to go take that framing class with that lady. And then my art teachers, who I called my art moms, like they're the ones that are like, hey, VCU is right up the street, go check that out. Or, showing me all this access that I didn't know was possible if I wasn't just happened to be in their classroom at that moment to get that from them. So coming full circle, now that we've had enough shows, I can say that my students have shown like right beside me. I can say that they've painted murals right beside us, and they feel that elevation, and I can see that change in them. And so now we have a space that we can cultivate that instead of waiting around for people to put a price tag on it or tell us what's valuable. It's nice to have that power, so grateful for that.
Yeah. Chris is educated at Crystal Ray, which is a local school.
Go Royals.
So for me, as I mentioned earlier, my the practice as an artist came later in life. And it really came from a place of picking it back up after being a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, raising my children, and going through a really tumultuous divorce. During that time, I had not done anything for myself creatively for about 12 years. And I had poured all my creativity into how I raised my kids. That was my art, right? And then, one day I've just kind of said, yeah, let me pick this back up and see what it do, type of thing. And initially it was just kind of therapeutic, and then it grew from that to a hobby. And then a few people started asking me like, hey, are these for sale? And I'm like, why are you buying? And you know, that actually moved pretty quickly. That I started that in maybe 2017, and by 2019 I had like, you know, been in my first group show as an artist, and then just on a whim applied to a festival in Basel, and got in and went, you know, and then kind of through the pandemic, you know, I was still doing it more as, you know, a hobby type of thing. And then I think around 2021, I said, let me get serious about this and do this full time. And then once I moved back to Richmond in 2022, yeah, that's when I started doing art full time. But I always had this idea, if you will. And yeah, like I said, the time came, the space became available. I jumped, and what ownership has done is sort of crystallize all of the seemingly disparate experiences of my life and disciplines, if you will, into kind of more of a holistic model. So, you know, I see that the skills that I picked up from all the different, you know, paths I've taken, detours I've taken, they come together with Chromophore to, you know, I think it feels more like a mission, like a calling, than it does a business per se.
Yes, no question for everybody. Did ownership shift your politics? Whether art world politics, governmental politics?
No.
No.
Shit. Nah, it gave me a vehicle.
It made me more.
Yeah, it gave me an outlet.
Yeah, exactly.
A legal one. It's a trap house.
Did all three galleries commercial galleries?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean not a nonprofit?
Yeah, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all still are.
Yes.
Who's your prime audience?
Ooh. Honestly, it goes two ways. Okay, so for me, I think it's prime audience in the sense of selling the artwork, yes. But then there's also prime audience in just the sense of people viewing the artwork, you know. And I think on the sense of people viewing the artwork, it's everyone for us. You know, we have free exhibitions, you know, we do free programming, we try to drive people to the community. We do educational programming, you know, to teach people about art collection, artist development, curatorial development. I think we're also really big about engaging the ecosystem across, you know, writers, collectors, curators, you know, using the artist as a nexus, but working around that artist. For the sense and the other side, I think our prime market is emerging collectors, I would say. We're really trying to target collectors that are like new to the game in a sense, or trying to get into the art collection, or, you know, fearful of it. We're trying to really demystify what it is to collect artwork. So that comes through programming, that comes through systems such as even payment plans, you know, teaching people about collecting art, building trust, art budgets, you know, really giving them the educational point so they feel empowered when they come in. Also letting them know, like, you don't just have to come to a gallery. You can go to an art fair, you can go to a market, you can literally DM the artist and hit them up in the studio. You know, a lot of artists will let you come to their studio and, like, you know, really shop if you're serious, you know, and you get a really good price, you know. Of course we would like for you to come to us, but, you know, we educate people across the board. And we let people understand their options. And I think once you do that, that builds that trust, you know, so which is really important. So I think that's how our markets kind of exist, you know, when we're thinking about things.
Okay.
Or audiences.
You hit on some things that we don't talk about.
I'm sorry.
Prime audience.
People with good taste.
Yeah.
Chris said, da, 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 da.
Because we building up into like a deeper, you know.
Take it there, Chris.
We're going.
I mean, I can tell you who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah, that's
Like the nerds,
Yeah.
the
I'm gonna let you answer
the
that.
people from the other side of the tracks. You know what I mean? Like
The youth.
the youth,
Right.
like the people. Like there are so many things that society dismisses as like this is just, you know, like you said about comic books. Like this it's not real art. But then so much of our pop culture revolves around that thing. So like the way people are dismissive of like hip hop, for example, but then like it's like the biggest music genre of
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or graffiti is like the biggest art movement
Yeah.
in like 100 years, you know what I mean?
It's probably the most seen art too.
Yeah. So just trying to speak to that, like this thing that you dismiss as is just, you know, some sort of like pop trendy thing. It's like, no, this is a real like art form, and these things inform each other. You know what I mean? So like, if you know people like the Hildebrand brothers or like Alex Ross, they're like, these are like classically trained painters, but they work in comics. So where's the line? Like, what's valuable?
Yeah, my audience is, I think, is twofold. You know, you have the artists and then you have the collectors. In terms of the artist side, it's emerging artists and artists who are underrepresented in this, particularly in this city. And so that's a somewhat broad umbrella, which includes both young and old artists. It includes mostly Black and brown artists. It includes, you know, queer artists. It includes artists who are self-taught and artists who went to art school. But, you know, I see my space as more of an incubator to give those artists experience and the opportunity to develop skills and talent, you know, and confidence to take it to another level. And then in terms of the collector, my audience is primarily Black women in their 20s up until their 60s or 70s. But I'm also trying to reach some of the Black folks who are new to collecting, as well as, like, quite frankly, you know, the talented 10th types. You know, they need to be the ones that, you know, pick up the mantle of the stewardship of Black art. You know, like they talk a lot about what they support. No, real talk, right?
No, bring it, yes, because I'm.
They talk a lot about we support Black businesses. We did. Okay, where y'all at?
I would like to see it.
Does sales shape your programming?
Who? Asking great questions, Murphy. No.
Nah.
No.
If you had no collectors, would your curatorial voice change?
If I had a collector with my
If you had no collectors, would it change?
If that's what brought them, then why am I changing?
no.
No.
No, but I probably wouldn't be open as long as I
Some people will bend more, you know.
just being real.
So we started to talk about collectors, so that actually bridged us into what I was going to take us to. So what's your relationship with your collectors? Anybody can go first.
You know, we have this conversation a lot about like entry points into like art, and in the world that I come from, which is like street art, sneaker culture, that sort of like the high fructose, you know what I'm saying, juxtaposed crowd. Like I love James Jean. I cannot afford a James Jean. You know what I mean? So I can buy a James Jean sketchbook or a pen or a button and all that. So like we are playing this tiered game of like, I can't afford this $1,000 painting, but that's a really dope $40 t-shirt. You know what I mean? So like our relationship with our collectors varies because there are people who are drawn to very specific things we do. So there are people who like will probably never buy a painting from me, but they love every t-shirt or hoodie I make. And then there are people who like the paintings and they don't give a shit about the t-shirt. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know, it's a weird sort of fluctuating field, but everybody understands what I'm saying. They just a different thing that I'm saying.
It's good in translation.
Yeah.
I think our collectors too are looking forward to the next thing that we're doing. And then also with the entry points, like there are people who can't afford an original, but they have a whole wall of prints. And they change those out because they're changing with your voice too. So it's a lot of people that are familiars at this point when they come to a Doom show or come to a Dilla's Deli. Like we've seen them before.
What I see happening with that relationship with my collectors, it's constantly evolving, right? But in terms of the people who have collected since I've been in the space, it feels like family. Feels like, yeah, they come in for one thing and they end up getting another, right? You know, a lot of people just come into the space just out of curiosity, or what is this? And, you know, I can honestly say, like, I've built like some solid friendships and relationships with people who just come back because they love the energy of the space, you know, and then they start, you know, they buy a print, they buy a this, they buy a that, and then now, oh, wait, I can put this on an installment plan? Oh, that changes everything. It feels like family.
I think we're in a very interesting position where we are now because we are deciding our points of growth, for lack of a better word, and where we want to be. And that's kind of separating us. But the way that we've navigated our collectors is, again, just always being accessible, letting people understand that we can talk about artwork anytime. We're never trying to close off that conversation, because even now I've gotten a habit of pushing people in other directions. It's like, hey, I might not be able to help you, but you might be able to go to Aya, or now you might be able to go to Hi.Res, or I even know galleries outside of the city of Richmond. Like, hey, I know this gallery in DC, I know this gallery in New York. You know, to be able to just let them know that, hey, you might not find your work with us, but find your work with somebody. You know, like explore, experiment, immerse yourself in the art. Because if it's meant to be with us, it's gonna happen with us. And I think that creates a conversation of like authenticity and trust. And that's really two things that's really allowed us to build really strong relationship with collectors. Like some of our collectors, just some of the words that they said is, hey, I came into the studio business to buy this one piece from an artist, like Huey, he had a studio visit, came in to buy one piece, was definitely gonna buy one piece, but I ended up buying 4 just because of how we engaged with each other, just because of how y'all held space, just because of the way that y'all interacted with each other, just because of where I saw that this wasn't you weren't trying to really sell me anything. And honestly, if he'd have left out of there with nothing, we'd have just been happy that he sat in there with his wife, talked to us, had a great time, because he drove all the way from Jersey. We were just glad that you came to share this space with us, and he felt that. But now we have a strong collector, you know, and going down to some of these fairs, that's been the run of the mill where most of his collectors are buying multiple pieces. And they're saying, it's like, hey, like, we feel something here. We want to be a part of this journey. You know, it's not gonna end here, and we feel that. So a lot of that is what we're doing. We're looking to navigate that. Even like Mariah right here, I'm gonna shout you out. So you knew it was coming. So she's one of our collectors, strong collector, and it's just like this open dialogue that we're able to navigate. Like she knows if I send her a piece, it's not me being pushy. It's just like, hey, like this is something I think you're interested in, and it's not always about sale. That's another thing that she understands, that I don't care if you bought a piece. Let's talk about it. Do you like the artist? Do you like what we're bringing in the gallery? Do you like these conversations that we're navigating? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? Because as me as a gallerist, I want to ensure that the community feels held in different ways, seen, represented, you know, especially, you know, mirroring what I was saying. Like we have a lot of conversations across the diaspora, you know, and I'm really also, even talking about the political piece, like we run with that. Like during I'm not gonna say during the Free Palestine movement because it's still happening, but during the epic movement that Richmond wanted to kind of shine a light on, you know, we made sure that we had a Jordanian Palestinian artist in here, you know, and we had Arabic on the wall, you know, on the text. Like it's just certain things that we're intentional about, you know, we're making sure that we can keep our collectors and showing that we're gonna be this radical space, but also bringing them works that they can continue to grow with. You know, whether they're viewing them, whether they're collecting them, whether they're being stewards. I think offering them different pathways. So right now, talking about stewardship, we're talking with our collectors about just stewarding works. You know, so Mariah's one of our collectors. So say Sarah Green, you know, we would literally let her hold that work. Of course, insurance, but she would hold that work in her house. She would steward that work. If she wants to buy it, cool, she can make payment plans on it, but if not, she could give it back. But she was able to appreciate it, talk about it, you know, have dinner parties like she wants to have, you know what I mean, and be able to have dope Black artwork in her house. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we're doing to be able to move these works around, have them in conversation, have them in dialogue, have them in stewardship, but also empower our collectors, you know, because that's what it's about. For us, it's about education, access, and empowerment. And I think through that authenticity and that trust, we're able to really push people in a good direction.
I was gonna ask a question earlier. I was gonna ask what changed with like gallery responsibility, but maybe I'll answer that too. I never per se owned a gallery. I've helped people run their galleries a lot. But gallery responsibility changed my politics. So, because I wanted to like think about politics, right? As far as, because I maybe elaborate more or give context on what I meant as in politics, on like how it actually runs and what we can like become comfortable with as owners. Because like becoming a CEO in the art world or an art ecosystem it changes your politics, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, because from artist and from a collector, because you don't have to really change.
Does it have to though?
Well, I think it does, because you now have to see from like a wider perspective of what you're doing, and you can definitely understand artists more.
I understand.
Like, so it can expand your politics, you know. So I didn't want to give y'all just like into the positivity, because it could negative.
Expand is a better word than change.
I like it.
I could see.
Yeah. So I wanted you to go either way, but I said change.
Because I'm thinking 180 when you say change.
And that's why I came back, because it can actually change like how you see, you know, like the political environment of the art world and like how you move in it.
I guess,
you know
I mean, as an artist myself, there is you have to hold two thoughts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because like we talk about it all the time, like.
Just talking about it.
Managing personalities of artists, like I get it, we're crazy people. But when you're trying to like, hey man, the show starts on the 1st. I need the work a week. Don't show up with the work the day before the show opens. You know what I mean? But I've been in that position. You know what I mean? So like I'm trying to like,
I was telling you.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I get it. But also like, come on, bro.
But,
Like,
so like, yeah, because like maybe not like politics is a strong word, but it's the right word too.
yeah.
So you know,
Yeah,
I
this
knew.
might be an unpopular, take or whatever, and I could also be naive because I'm new to this, right? But I come from this primarily from a lens of wanting to be a free Black person and wanting to divest from capitalistic thinking, wanting to approach things from a lens of decolonization, and I want to encourage both artists and collectors to do that. And a big part of the ethos of Chromophore is to challenge the systems of the art world and to prove that it's possible to be successful by doing it our own way, right? So that's where I'm coming from. And if I start to now say, well, I want to, parlay with these folks, so I'm gonna, stray away from the original mission, then I feel I'm not only betraying myself, but I'm betraying the people who I've brought in under this,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not social politics. We ain't get there yet. We almost there.
Okay.
We almost there.
Okay.
When I say politics, I'm more so talking like, protocol, procedure, like how we do things. Because I think when I got an immense responsibility in a gallery, I started to see why things aren't accepted, and that's why I became more of an educator in the art world on like us taking accountability on how we present things to the businesses, because they run businesses, and artist, I'm an artist, and I used to come sloppy with good work, and I think that you had to listen to me. But it's sometimes I'm intervening in your day and you're running a business, and if I don't have it all together,
so I resonate with that, but I think that there's a way that we can, Rosetta talks a lot about education. I think there's a lot of ways that we can educate our fellow creatives, right?
Yeah,
without taking on the posture of the white institution, the gatekeepers of this art world.
I mean, the shows we've done where like people will come, excellent work, bro. Where's the frame? Like it's just a sheet of paper. Like it's not framed, it's not ready, it's not nothing. It's just like take the second to be like, listen.
We can be proactive about
this is how we.
So that's why I say acceptability. To me, I came from like this lens of like a different art world, and I wanted the community to show with us. So instead of denying people, I would go into the neighborhood and I'm teaching like how to frame, how to build your frames, like how to come to the galleries. Like, I was in Brooklyn, like in Brooklyn neighborhoods with groups of artists. Like, we're going to Chelsea Thursday, and this is how we're gonna come. This is how you talk about your art, because this is how your art is. You don't let them tell you anything about your art.
I don't want to derail it because you said we're gonna get to it later. But it's hard for me to separate that from, the social consciousness piece of it, right? Because as I think about everything that we see in this dominant culture, right? All the systems that they've built, they didn't come up with any of these ideas on their own. They did not build it on their own. Like everywhere, when you read your history, when you study your history, everywhere in the world where melanated people exist, indigenous people exist, they had systems and civilizations that were then copied and stolen and then turned around and told us that we didn't have a culture, right? You know, like I think about, for example, right? People think about etiquette, you know, the idea of a 3-course meal or a multiple course meal or whatever. You think that's from a European? No, it's not. It's from a black Persian named Zariab that developed that in Andalusia in Spain before there was a Renaissance. You know, the whole idea of from soup to nuts, that comes from a black Muslim, right? So like, let's not forget our history, because when they say, oh, it needs to be this certain level and this professionalism and stuff, who created that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my voice, because I want to talk about white people. Yeah, that's all. We'll talk about white people. I take black artists to black galleries, so like,
I mean, if I could punch in real quick,
we haven't even started. We ain't even.
Yeah, we ain't even there yet. Okay,
this is
okay.
our ecosystem.
Okay,
like,
got you.
Training my people to go to him.
Got you.
Like, and how we don't impede on.
Got you.
If I could punch in real quick, I think, you know what I mean. I guess play devil's advocate a little bit, but I'm always curious. This when we say cultural, you know what I mean, and you know, anti this and anti that, can we still not have a level of greatness?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's inherent in
Okay,
us.
okay.
And I think it's a reframing and a reclamation.
Okay. Because I think every time I hear something that's like, oh, we're not supposed to be this and we're not supposed to be that, it's like, I go to Mexican galleries,
right,
African, I go to a lot of different galleries and museums, and I see greatness outside of that, but it's still on a certain level.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there's levels to this regardless of what culture we're in. And I think sometimes when we talk about levels, it's always now compared to whiteness.
I just don't want us to be bamboozled into thinking that
Cool,
they're
cool.
setting the standard.
Cool. No.
Yeah.
When I think of standards, I think of Richard Beaver's gallery, I think of Southern Guild gallery, I think of Mindy Solomon gallery, I think of galleries that are owned by us.
Yeah.
Museums that are owned by us. You know what I mean? So, okay.
I mean, that's the context I come from.
We there.
We answered the next question just now. Do you service existing markets or create your own? Let's talk about, I mean, because we both kind of like alluded to what we do, but we'll get back to that.
Can we answer that question now?
What?
I want to answer that question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I think it's an important question. Richmond is a struggling art market. Richmond is not sustainable to help artists reach the level that they need to reach. Richmond has a very pick who they want and not who needs to be shown and highlighted. The gallery, Southside, we have literally shown artists that have shown in this city that have barely been blinked at, that have been represented by major galleries in the city. I won't say no names. And we took their same works to different fairs and they sold like hotcakes for higher prices. So it's not the artwork, it's not the artists, it's not the spaces. Like we literally need to start pushing back on this market. Yeah. Like it has to be more conversations around where the fuck the money is going. Follow the money. The cool guys are here.
I mean, like speaking to that, like I mean, I gotta blow your spot up. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
But like, yo, Chris might be one of the most like famous, accomplished artists in the city. Like, Like,
Period, though.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talking about like Disney with like the whole MCU. It's like they just put out a TV show last year where he walked the red carpet because the first episode of the TV show is based on something he did. But then you come back to Richmond and he's like, you walk in the gallery, can I get a show here? And they're just like, yo,
Who are you?
You know what I mean? Like, it's so that thing is like, it's not the spaces, it's not the art, it's like there's a system in place. It's like you're like this thing, not that thing. You know?
Yeah, because of who's up. And that's the thing. I'm like, I'm at the point now, and I don't know, like, because I've gotten quiet over the last few years because I have been blacklisted. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm blacklisted in the art world in Richmond. That's why I've decided to go to fairs. And I work through this city, but honestly, Richmond has never been the goal. Like, we've been accepted to international art fairs in Miami. We're now accepted to an international fair in New York. We have a show in LA. Like, it's just certain things where it's like, yo, you're not gonna tell me it's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like they've done, just like you said, international fucking mural festivals. It's just like, but he has to beg for walls. We have to beg for collectors to come here. We have to beg for institutional people to come here. And it's like, I don't know how long this game needs to be played, because I also understand it's a game. I get it. That's why I got this chessboard here, actually.
It's a nice chessboard, by the way.
Yeah, it was made by an artist, too. Yeah, he made it for one of the shows that I had in Brooklyn.
Wow.
His art is fire, too. He does most, like, sculpture and conceptual shit. Yeah. But, yeah, man, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, how can we get a piece of that? Because honestly, if you give us 10%, we'll do damage. And I think that's the scariest thing, is they don't want to share that. Because they understand what's going to happen. And that's why we decided to title this NeoNexus. Because, like, if we literally can shift that energy around us, oh, man.
So,
things will change.
Question. Do you think that the potential exists for Richmond to become?
Yes.
Yeah, because we've.
I already said no. You said potential?
I got one more question before we get
Okay.
I got like 2 more questions. I got 2 more questions before we get there.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do short answers too. But you all can help. We can have a dialogue about this next question or actual idea. So how does the existence of Black galleries materially impact the community through jobs, education, economic mobility, and ownership pathways? So when we think about institutions, industries, and product, since we all push product, whether it's services, programming, or objects, right? So with this existing, most other businesses or like archetypes of businesses, they have material impact in the community. So like, how can the existence of this trio and our wider community really materialize in the community? And like, do y'all have examples? And like, what do y'all want to say about that? Like,
I can say, like, I mean, our gallery's only been open like 6 months, but like we've been doing shows and stuff for years. Our biggest sort of like win in that aspect was Storm the Gates.
Yeah.
So we like did this show at Art 180, and the whole concept of the show was like, yo, we gotta get the gatekeepers out the way. Like, you can't tell me what art is. And we just opened submission, but we were kind of like rooting for like the people who like paint in their bedroom or their garage, or like they've never had a show anywhere, but they just make really good art. And like 600 people showed up to the opening of that show.
Yeah, that shit was actually.
And it's like a bunch of people who had like,
that shit was crazy. We got never mural in the back.
Yeah,
that shit was crazy.
I've never shown art anywhere, but like
that was tough.
I can paint. You know what I mean? And like now those people have careers. You're saying more or less. Like they've done some stuff, and they can like people. They've just been put on the map now. It's like, oh, I've never heard of this person, and now people like love their stuff. So like that's just like our biggest win in terms of that, like how we are like impacting the community. Like even with the murals that we paint, like there's always like somebody who walks up to us that like in their eyes murals just magically appear. Like they never see the artist. It's just like I was here Monday and I'm here Friday and this is there.
Y'all work fast though, man.
So, but like that sort of like now that I see the process, I understand it's possible, and it's whether it's creating spaces for artists to do their thing, or even just introducing them to like the potential for that thing to do that thing themselves. Like that's most often how we have impact is like people just taking part in the thing that we do, or like engaging with us like face to face.
It's multi-layered too. Like it's the audiences that we're hitting too, because the youth were in that show. We had people who were doing graffiti, doing fine art, doing all different types of mediums and styles and executions. They were all in that one place. We were bringing out music and DJs, food trucks.
This is us.
So you have like that trifecta of seeing how the culture moves in different art forms, whether it's food, whether it's music, whether it's actual visual arts, and bring that all together in one space that is tapping into three different communities plus.
Also the parking lot joint.
And the parking lot too, like
beautification.
Yo, we had
I
such.
thought about saying a couple more. I'm thinking about the basketball court.
Yeah, basketball court. But even when we were doing the parking garage, like not only did we have all types of artists painting on the walls, we had a local food truck pull up. They were about to pay us out of their own pocket to pay for food for us. The neighbor right next door who said that, oh man, this area is so run down, like there's people like getting strung out here in the stairwells. Now he's sitting here paying for food for all the artists to be fed while they're beautifying this space that was just gray and run down. Like, and it was so easy. We did that, what, 2 weeks?
That's what it's about.
2 weeks. How much pushback we get?
The power of art.
All the pushback.
All the pushback.
But I'm just saying, it's like,
pushback.
and the crazy thing is we had so many people pulling up and saying, we see the difference. We see what's happening right here. We're going to make the next one happen. Did you hear about that?
Nope.
Okay, then. I'm good.
Yo, like, not to derail, but like this lot we just did right here, that lot was funded by the National Academy of Design. Like,
What?
yeah, the grant we got to do that. The grant we got to do that. The National Academy of Design has this grant to give out every year called the Abbey Mural Prize, and we got it in like 23.
Nobody talked about it.
Yeah, nobody said anything.
That's crazy. That's something.
Y'all answered jobs and education. I'm gonna break the other two up, right? Because you already talked about like your transition into like collector relationships. So, with the existence of Black galleries, how are you helping materially impact through like ownership pathways?
Oh Lord, say that again.
Ownership pathways. So, like, how does that impact the community with you teaching how to collect art and allowing people to transition to becoming collectors of original art through, fashion and then prints and then like getting them to a level of honing original art to,
So I'm gonna answer that question in a bit of a roundabout way.
Okay.
Since opening, we have materially impacted a number of artists who have shown and sold work for the first time, and what that has done for them is say, hey, I am an artist. I can do this. Let me go after other opportunities.
Yes.
I'll use Yvonne Ferguson as an example, she had a solo. And,
She was a portraiture artist?
Yeah, portraiture. So she had done a little thing before and sold a number of pieces. And I was telling her, your work is priced too low. It's priced too low, right? And at first she didn't want to because, accessibility, right? And when she came back for the solo, I was like, nope, your entry point is 1,000, not 300, right? And she was shocked that we were still able to move pieces at that. And not only that, but there was like a bidding war over one of her pieces, right?
As it should be.
Yeah. As a result of the impact from that show, she got an offer for a batch purchase from a major collector. So what that has done is that's moved her from her mom being her manager to now You know, she has, you know, leveled up in management, and it has allowed her to, instead of fervently putting out work, right?
Pace herself.
Because she's yes,
Pace
she's
herself.
slowed down.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so now, you know, it's like, imagine if she can do this in 2 days, what happens when she takes several months
Yeah.
to work on a
She paints
piece?
fast.
Yeah.
I was watching her paint that all night when she was live painting. It was
Yeah,
just
so that,
Now,
and then, you know, one of the people the person who won the bidding war, this is her first, you know,
That's full. Yeah,
Piece.
that's full 360.
that's
yeah.
her first piece. And the husband, when I went to deliver the piece, the husband was like, I told her that once this, she got the bug now.
Yeah. They live in a
Yeah.
purposeful life.
Yeah, and they have the means to be the
I
stewards
got a
of the
whole
work,
And that time, like,
and for it to
Next one, I was
be,
gonna answer this one.
you know,
Oh, I was,
a thing that now gets passed down generationally.
I know you want to
that time, that like ability to slow down is like precious. You know what I mean? Like when you have to make, when you constantly having to, it's like almost like an assembly line.
Yeah,
Like you don't have time to like
yeah,
make new ideas. But when you have that that period to slow down, that's where your work progresses.
Yeah.
So it's like dope.
I want to get into like one question that I guess like we all really came for, but it'll position us to have like another conversation afterwards. How do you exhibit black work without reducing blackness to theme, trauma, or trend?
Ooh.
And when you hold the aperture a little wider, what does that mean to blackness and black art?
Yo. Okay. I intentionally choose, like when we do like our theme shows and things, just choose a thing that is like sort of like it's closely related to like black culture, but it's sort of open ended.
Yeah.
So like we did a Wu-Tang theme show, and it's like, yeah, it's Wu-Tang, it's hip hop, it's whatever, but like you can go everywhere with that. I tried to not lean into like very specific experiences. Like, you know what I'm saying? Blackness is not a monolith. And then like we have this conversation all the time about like black art. Like,
what is it?
what is, you know what I mean? What is it? Like, okay, what's, this person is an abstract artist. If you don't know that, it's just art. You know what I mean? So like, how do, like, what is that gauge?
Yes.
But like being artists who have like very specific like interests, like you said, people don't be respecting comics. Like I got into art from cartoon and comic books, and like, you know what I'm saying? I picked up a pencil because I love Transformers. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing specifically inherently black about Transformers, but like that's the thing that got me into art. So I'm trying to like open the aperture to like catch all those people that were inspired by these things that aren't like, you know what I'm saying, like notably black.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, my bad.
Good.
Yeah.
This question comes from a DM that he received.
Oh yeah, when somebody
It's
told me I
like,
wasn't
yeah.
a curator.
Yeah, so like we actually this comes from programming that a nonprofit does for the gallery, and I had some students here, and he was reacting to a DM about the black art that's in this exhibition.
Yes.
Who makes it their preference, how they,
Oh.
yeah. So like a very weird message, but a conversation that must be had
Yeah.
about like how we
Yeah.
represent ourselves, and
Yeah.
if you do reduce yourself to that, you minimize yourself. So if we can't talk, like, to me, black art is a black person made the art, just like what
Right.
Italian Renaissance
Right.
is.
That part.
So like it's
That's
not,
it.
it's not
That's
a
it.
conversation. You know, but like it's a conversation to have because it's a perspective and it comes from somewhere, so we can
Well, Murphy's
talk about
taking
the
all
artist
my
and talk about the
answers, so-
subject. My
You
bad.
taking all your answers. He
Murph
coming
don't
to
know how to
your
be a moderator.
Teacher, too. So like sometimes it's hard for people to just talk.
But that's why we
about
love.
talk.
That's why we love him.
Um,
He's passionate about it. But
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Like black art is what black people create, and I think being able to even dive, like even Black Art Notes, being able to dive into things like this, which is like a collection of essays in response to a museum pretty much trying to say what contemporary black art was. And a bunch of black artists being like, nah, we not really think that's what it is, and it's like these same conversations are being had, and it's like with anything in our culture, we consistently have to defend these same things. We have to defend our identity, we have to defend our culture, we have to defend our language, our vernacular, we have to defend our style, we have to defend our hair, we have to defend our jewelry. We have to defend our pain. We have to defend our rest. Like, it's just consistent. So when I think about black art, yes, it's just whatever black people decide to create, because that's what we have the freedom to do, and that's the power, that's the autonomy, that's the breakaway. So as a black curator, I'll be honest, I'm very anti-figurative. I just throw it out there. Like, you come into Southside Contemporary, you're not going to see a lot of figurative artwork because I feel like we've been strained into believing that's all black art can be. And that's not saying I don't like figurative artwork. I do, I enjoy it, but I really want to break away from that and provide a space to present black artwork outside of the black box, and not only just figurative, but when we talk about trauma, when we talk about reducing black pain, when we talk about black pain and trauma as material, transactional material, which pretty much just still brings us back to our bodies being enslaved. It's just a lot of things that goes into it, and it's like it's going to be surface level just to kind of spark interest at that level and not really go deeper, then I'm really not interested. So I have definitely shown some works here that's definitely been, I guess, speaking to that black trauma and pain, but it hits different. Like, one of the pieces that I showed was actually Boston Ron. It's interesting, it was over here, I looked over there, but it was Boston Ron, it was over there too, but it was Klansman hood, actually made by a woman who used to make Klansman hoods. So even talking about that process, it was red and it had white lettering that said "Make America Great Again." Those are the pieces I want to show. If we're going to talk about different things that are going to get back into that politics, and we're going to talk about our black pain, how is it now being relevant now, and how we're shifting and pushing back against that? Because we even had a white woman coming in here. It's like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? What is that? It's like, yes, that's art for me. That's art. I wanted to be able to create this dialogue and not just be consumed and saying, oh yeah, black slaves, black faces, black this, black that. Oh yeah, I get it. You guys struggled. You guys with this. All right. Okay. And it's just, I can't. So, and I have nothing against it. I'm just not interested in it. So as I say this, I say this as like, yes, we need that as well. We do, because that's also what we fought against. And I definitely have read a lot of history, I understand why. That's why I have a lot of different artists, even like Henry Taylor, but even him, even like Genesis, it's just different ways that they play into it. Or even like Derek Adams, he does figurative artwork, but it's different. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. Like, Silly and Chris does figurative artwork, but it's different. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's different. It's just,
I guess there's some degree of abstraction to it.
yeah, it's just, it's different. And it's just, I guess it's even speaking to the lens of you saying it's almost not copying to get into the institution. You know what I mean? It kind of really breaking away from that, so, but I respect it. I do respect it, but I feel like my curatorial practice and acumen, I've decided to build this path kind of differently to be able to show our people and encourage them that black art is exactly what that is exactly what we want to create. So as you see in this whole exhibition, these are all black artists, and when you come in, you have to pretty much judge them just off of their art, and you don't have any kind of tells.
You know, it's just what else is going on outside of these phenotypes and these kind of explicit things that we're kind of used to almost writing off. And I think that's another thing that kind of like, as I look, a lot of people like they consume and they write it off and they don't kind of dig deeper sometimes. I think as a people, we dig deeper, you know, sometimes because we're looking at certain things. But outside of that, there's not a wider scope getting people inside. So I'm always looking for that bi-directional effect of the artwork.
I think that I deliberately shy away from the trauma, pain, kind of stereotypes, if you will. And if it is alluded to, it's balanced with themes like that are rooted in, you know, joy, resilience, culture, identity, that kind of thing. You know, I'm very deliberate about Chromophore feeling like a welcoming and healing space. And it's not just the vibes of the place, it's also in what's hanging on the walls and, you know, the story that the work is telling. You know? So, yeah. That's it.
Your space is black. It's fuck.
Black.
It's not like I'm selling you a couch. Come sit down.
Besides the lake, was the blackest spot on the road.
Right.
One person can answer this question. Tell me about a time you had to say no to work that was more consumable rather than complex.
Oh man.
Because this is right in this.
Which one?
Yeah, you got it.
I was thinking someone else has got it. I don't know. I know the feeling of that because it's happened so many times. I can't think of a specific one.
Has it happened to you?
Yes.
Talk about it.
Repeat the question one more time, just so I get the right context.
Well, talk about a time somebody said no to you and you felt like it's because it was more consumable.
Which bridge do I want to burn?
Because sometimes you don't get the yes.
None of them.
You don't get the yes and the no. You know, it just feels like you just, yeah.
I mean, even I'll keep it general. It's even when you tell somebody the bare minimum of like, this is what this takes to make something happen. And you're even like, all right, I won't do it. I'll do it for this much, taking it out of your own pocket. But you're sitting there putting your energy, your life force, your perspective. Oh, it looks so easy. It looks easy because I've been doing this for 41 years. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to that point where you're having to constantly like validate your own value, and it's like that's what got you in this conversation with me anyway, is seeing what I do, but now you're questioning it because money's on the table. Yeah, sometimes I've had to say yes in those moments and regret it. Other times I gave a hell no and was very thankful for it. And nobody wants to hear the truth about that because money's a tough thing to talk about, and especially when it's like combined with education or combined with art, because people are like, oh, it's objective. No, it's objective. It's like, it's a made up number, but it's a number that's grounded in what we need to survive and be able to give you this good work you're asking for.
Yeah.
So
Is it made up though?
I was about to say that.
I might have been slippery with that. I'm talking about the value that they have because I'm telling them this is a very practical number, and then there's like people who haven't even looked into how much murals cost, the equipment that it has to do to get that.
It's not made up. I can show you the seats.
Yes,
it's not made up.
Their perspective is they think. Sorry, I'll articulate that clearly.
Itemized.
Their perspective is thinking that it's a made-up number, not respecting your experience, the lengthy resume, and then the number of times that you've done it again and again and again and again with the results that they're requiring.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's a good answer, Chris.
our next section. All right, we're not gonna zoom through this, but I want to get all of this in, so we're gonna talk about where y'all see yourselves in the Richmond arts ecosystem, right? And are you alternative, complementary, or corrective?
Disruptive.
Disruptive is corrected.
Is that okay?
Alternative
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
isn't because you still
I would
you
like
still
to
consider it.
I used to be disruptive. I'll be honest, and I've realized that doesn't serve you too well, Richmond.
Nope.
It only gets you but so far. And it's not for your own faults or your own morals, or those are definitely something you can stand by. But if you have a degree of success, it's like, okay, again, back to that board that we're talking about. I think I've realized I want to be more catalytic, and I've transformed my destruction. All right, so I'm still not necessarily playing against or with the flow, but how can we catalyze what's going on and bring it to a higher level?
Extracted.
Yeah, or like, what's the word for it? You kind of infiltrate. You know what I mean? You don't really disrupt, but I'm like a double
Maybe
agent.
alternative because you still consider it.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, there's
Yeah.
alternative. You
Yeah.
can consider it without
Because
having to adhere to it.
the thing is, it's like I, for a long time, wanted to kind of have my own board. You know what I mean? And realize certain things that are frustration. But now it's like the pieces are there. You just got to play with the pieces that are there. You can't. You can't really. You can try to decide, but the pieces are there. So you got to move the pieces that are there. And now I'm just moving the pieces, and I'm realizing that it's opening up. But I'm also realizing that Richmond is not the only board. So now I have a board in New York. I have a board in LA. I have a board in Miami. And I'm realizing I have a board in Tokyo now. I have a board in London. So it's like these boards are now just being able to be boom, boom, boom. And sometimes you focus on one board more than the other. Like in May, I'm going to be focused on New York. Richmond is going to be a board, but it's not going to be the main board. And I think what that allows you to do is not get so frustrated with one game, and you realize that you can play multiple games.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, I don't really want, but that's the metaphor that I use. I'm not trying to like make it seem like, but yeah, because with these systems, Richmond moves slow. Very slow.
Yes, it do.
Like
Sorry.
molasses. And I think a lot of us that have moved in different markets, we realize that we have all of the pieces on the board. They're just not moving. So going back to kind of your other question, like I compare Richmond a lot to Baltimore right now. And we could easily be doing what Baltimore is doing. Like easily. Okay, my bad. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what it. That's how I would say.
Alternative, complementary, or corrective. I like alternative for you.
Okay.
That's not a negative. It's funny because I don't know who the powers to be are in Richmond. So I kind of like.
Did you want me to answer that?
Yeah. No.
Well,
But do you have a position?
I'll stop
Like,
recording.
well, to sort of quote Faith Ringgold in that film, what's it called? Where she was talking about being left out of sort of that cohort of Black artists. I'll stay outside until I get in.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel outside of the Richmond art ecosystem. I don't really pop out. So,
Bro, you are literally in the middle. Please stop.
I just don't know who the people are. So like I don't have relationships.
I think you're
with
just
a lot of these
unbothered
people.
by it all, Murph.
I think he hasn't
I
been
belong
here.
into another community. Like I belong to another community.
Yeah.
So I don't really
Yeah.
engage. I don't know where to engage sometimes. So like that's why I asked you, what does it look like to be here, but to have roots here and still be trying to get accustomed to the art ecosystem. Because I even went on a rant on my close friends about being invited but having power. Like there's times where I'm like, damn, I didn't even know this shit was happening. And
That's how I am.
I'm not
all the
even gonna
time.
email them because why
But
the
I-
fuck don't I even know that's happening?
But that-
It
it's
doesn't bother
also
me
a-
because I feel like the work that is ahead of me is enough to keep my attention. Like
Yeah.
this is what I have the capacity for.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I just
I
need
think-
to
I think that's
Some
a problem.
cities don't have good PR circulation.
No, that's that we not about to act like
Yeah,
that's what
how
it
do
is.
the three galleries intersect? 'Cause
He
I
knew
don't
I was
even-
about to go
I don't
somewhere.
even want to talk about
Yeah.
that. That's
Well, you
that's gonna
can't
take
keep
too long.
you can't keep talking though as a moderator and then want to switch the question. You gotta give us space to talk.
How
You're
do
the moderator.
how do the three galleries intersect?
Well, I think Rosetta spoke to it, alluded to it earlier. You know that we all sort of have our own aesthetic, our own lane, but we have common threads that, you know, hey, maybe being, you know, a little bit of outsiders, maybe doing things a little bit differently, but with similar like outcomes. We want similar goals, you know, like we care about Black art and Black artists.
I think community is a big one too.
Yeah.
Because we've all been through each other's spaces. Like that's been happening even before we had a gallery. And this guy, if I can blow up your spot for a little bit, he's always showing up to everybody's stuff. That's why everybody knows Silly. Like Silly is the most outside person in this room,
Yeah.
and it's with so.
I don't know how he does it. He's
I don't
like,
either.
Going over here, going over here, going over there.
But it also comes from a very intentional and good intentional place.
Yes.
Like he wants to see people all coming together, making good shit. Pardon my French, and also just like building each other up. And the crazy thing is, if I can also speak to this too, there is still people who will get that wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's still people thinking he's either moving sideways or trying to make bank on something. When we're putting like murals up in Southside, people still just want, oh, can I put my name on that? Or how can I get involved? Or how do I get down? Just show up. And that's what the heart of all this is with each gallery is like showing up. We're coming to this space. We're coming to her space. We're coming to our space. And we're also trying to connect it through activities, programming, looking at the generation behind us, but also trying to connect with the generation before us. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Keith?
No, go ahead. You just don't want me to talk.
No, I'm next question coming to you. But we gotta get through all the questions before 9 o'clock. Also, what's the hardest? Because these are actually real
I am not
questions.
kicking anybody out though.
What are the hardest financial realities of a Black album?
Whew. Okay. Damn.
Triggered.
Yeah. Fuck you. I love you though. But, that's that Aquarius shit. Two Aquarius. Yeah.
Oh.
January is too, both. I think. I mean, let's be real. Rent is real. You know, rent is real. We're not backed by a nonprofit. You know, we're not backed by major donors. You know, we don't have major collectors that are consistently buying artwork right now. So for the first few years outside of joint ownership, it fell on me. For like almost a year, I was paying rent by myself. And this rent is 1,000 plus here, you know, so, and growing. That's another thing. They're trying to get more money. So I think it's definitely grounds us in that idea of like, okay, we're a commercial gallery, but also we're not looking to compromise on certain things, and that puts us in a really precarious situation. Like the type of events that we're looking to do, or even how we promote events. We don't want to really sell ticketed events to exhibitions, so everything's free. It's just a lot of things that we're doing. It's just like, okay, we have to take the losses, but we really want people to experience this artwork. We've also started to really dabble in art fairs, and that has really put us in a wider ocean of what spending money on art is. Like, oh my goodness. I've never thought I would spend like fucking $10,000-$12,000 to just do something and potentially not make money. No, for real. Like, if you could have told me that, like, yeah, like, oh yeah, you're gonna take this peace and, you know, believe in this artist and believe in this work and go down to a whole nother fucking state and spend money getting down there, spending money on the artist getting down there, spending money on insurance and spending money on the booth and spending money on lights and spending money on, oh shit, we gotta get a photographer at the last minute and like, oh my goodness. So, and then spending money on dinners and like, it's just, but when you wake up, I asked myself, and I was in Miami, and I asked myself, why? And I was able to give myself the answer. And I think that made it all well, and we were able to show some really good numbers. I won't disclose them here, but last year, Southside Contemporary did numbers. And we were able to show that this is possible. This is possible in Richmond. This is possible with the level of artists that we're showing. This is possible with the team that we're building in the market. But we're gonna have to do things a little differently, kind of outside this market, because yeah, the bills, they stack. They stack in a lot of different ways, and they're consistently stacking. But I think as long as you kind of can navigate that why, it makes it make sense. And then also just trying to do good business, you know what I mean? And like try to find ways to, you know, supplement it all. Yeah.
Good insight. Someone needed to hear that, honestly. Hi.Res. Myths that need to die.
Whew. Oh shit.
Kill him, silly.
I don't know that it's a myth as much as it's just a misunderstanding
Myths that need to die.
of just like how easy people think this is. Mm-hmm. Like, like I mean, it's. I think that, I mean, I guess you can blame it on the internet, but like people have gotten so used to just seeing the final product and none of the process.
Not the process.
They just think it's like, oh yeah, you just did that. And it's like, no, bro, my 10,000 hours in 10,000 times.
Plus, yes.
Yeah.
It looks easy because I've, you know what I mean? It's almost like muscle memory. I've done this enough times, so I don't think I have to think about it.
Yeah.
But, like, what you got for that?
No, that's a good answer.
You touched on it.
That's a good answer.
I mean, that's really all I like. People see us like, I mean, just with like the murals, like before we even get to the gallery part, like they look at the mural thing.
That
like,
is a gallery though.
Yeah, the streets, you know
That's
what I
a
mean?
gallery,
But they're like, yo,
That's
that's
the
so
first
cool.
gallery
And it's
I
like,
walked into.
yo, it was 110 degrees yesterday. Like, I didn't want to be out there, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't fun. You know what I mean? Like,
It was hailing yesterday.
yo, bro.
You remember that? It was hailing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, my back hurt, my feet hurt. Like, you know, I had to, like, wheel myself out of bed.
Yeah.
But people just see the final product and like, yo, that's so fucking cool. It's like, bro, it's work though. You know what I mean? You gotta like actually show up to the shit. You gotta commit to it in a real way. Yeah. And I think people really need to you really need to like get in touch with like the artists and like, you know, when we were kids, bro, like we used to all be in front of the TV to watch making the video. Like you would see the process, like how long it took to actually make the video. So when you saw the final product, you was like, yo, this is dope as shit, because you saw the whole process.
I think a lot of stuff was about process.
Yeah,
It's all
so,
about process.
Making a
That's what
band.
And falling in love with your craft.
The car shit.
yeah.
Pimp my ride. It's all about process. That's a good point. Like they don't care about process.
People don't think that it takes what it takes to get.
Yeah.
Either big or like hidden. It's all the same effort.
Yeah.
To be seen or not be seen.
Everybody's ready to
just want to be productive.
put the phone down, press record, like, look what I did. And it's like, you didn't do shit.
We've had people show up to a wall with us when we did the parking garage, had the camera and tripod ready, had no sketch for what they're going to paint on the wall. And it's like, you got the cart all the way in front of the horse. Like, what are you doing? And everybody wants that fame that comes with whatever this is, but they don't understand that things that keep you going is the love that you have for what you're doing.
Wow.
And wanting the work to speak for itself, not the caption. It's always like, falling in love with that, you're not going to be sitting here counting hours because you're going to be lost in this thing that you love to do and it's going to show.
Yeah.
I want people to fall in love with that again.
Yeah.
Being unwilling to compromise, because maybe I want to talk to you about. It's not easy. He knows it's not easy. It doesn't really pay well. Not compromising. How do you take that position? You know, some people want to stand in their own ground in the art world or with ownership. You want to be yourself. But when you get the education on like business or like the art world, it kind of steers you into what everybody else is doing. So like, how are you able to not compromise, stand on your brand, and establish a voice that's permeable but strong in confidence?
That comes from having walked through fire and having lost your whole shit and having to rebuild from nothing. You know what that does for you is it removes fear, right? And it forces you back to yourself and into authenticity. And like once you stop performing and pretending,
Talking that talk.
it's hard to go back to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You asked about the financial realities of it. People see me, I'm well dressed, I'm put together, whatever.
That's culture.
Listen, it is culture, and it's deep, and like, look, I've been into fashion my whole life, so like, yeah, I got a
Always
closet.
gonna express yourself.
I got a closet full of gear. I'm not out here buying new stuff. You feel me, right? And dressing well is a form of adab for me. It's a form of manners for me, right? And it's a form of representation,
Self-care.
right? All the things, right? All the things. And, it's a reflection of how I think about the value of the art and the artist, right? But this comes at great personal sacrifice, and I'm actually just thankful that I'm in a position, I'm caring for my dad who's 88 and has dementia. And I have a roof over my head as a result of that. So I don't have to worry about my personal rent, right? I can worry about Chromophore rent, right? And so everything that I do and everything that's generated is being poured back into that, with the belief that at some point, it will be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I build on that?
I like that. That was transparent.
Yeah, unless you keep running out the door. We got some good questions.
You want to
Yeah. I mean, I think. Huh? Yeah. Okay. You stupid. But yeah, brother from another mother is crazy. But so like, yeah, I really think people like have to understand, especially. I have the privilege of not being an artist gallerist, and I understand that because I think it's a very different realm that you're dealing with, in the sense of like you have your own practice, you have your own want to put your own stuff into work. So I have like more of an objective view, but I definitely resonate with the sense of like sacrifice. It's like we're all sacrificing something, and I think people just don't realize that. I made a post the other day that just pretty much said like, I don't have to do this art shit. You know what I mean? And it wasn't in a sense of like a disrespect or disjointing, because like I really love what I'm doing, but it's like people think that we do this shit for the money. Like, I ain't made no fucking bread off of this shit yet. Like, no cap. I can show you the receipts. If anybody knows me, I've lost thousands of dollars in this. Like, if you really know Rosetta and what I put into this, like bands, like house bands. You know what I mean? Like, I should have a house right now for this. You know, but it's like, so don't challenge the passion. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are like, well, why are you here? We've done it. Like, bro, we showing you why we're here. We're consistently showing you why you're here. You know, like, you know, we love you. Definitely, you know, new to the fold, we welcome you. We feel like you're not going to go nowhere. But, like, silly, y'all like over 15 years in the game. 20 years in the game. Like, I'm just coming up behind them, like 10, 12 years in the game. Like, these are people, like, this has been happening. like what are you talking about? This is not something that's new as well. Like, the receipts are there. So I think that's something that, like, I struggle with sometimes, you know, because people kind of don't really see just the benefit of what it means to support these spaces. Because now I'm going to talk about the pattern that Richmond gets into, as we all know. A space will be created in Richmond, Virginia. People won't support the space in said Richmond, Virginia. The space will not have the capacity, sustainability to actually function. The space has to close. People complain about that space not being there anymore, and the gap of fucking culture that doesn't fucking exist. That's what I'm saying. We all know. So when are we gonna break that pattern? Like, how do we push back and challenge that? Like, because I'm kind of tired of it. Especially somebody that actively spends their money and goes to spaces. Like, everybody in here, if you got a business or no, like, I do something to support your business within my capacity. And I'm not loud about everything. Some things I do very quietly. Very quietly. Because I'm intentional. It ain't about just, oh, this. If I'm posting something on the gram, it's because I want other people to go do it. You know what I mean? It's not to show like, oh, I'm doing this. Like, no, like, you know what I mean? So I'm really trying to figure that out. You know, and I know the answer's not here, but I would love for us to, like, create dialogue further outside of this space, push it into, like, we got to start challenging the people next to us. Like, yo, what you doing to support, bro?
Right.
When the last time you spent some money in these places? When the last time you did da-da-da-da-da-da? Like, we have to. It's on us, the people that's here, that actually has some type of recognition that these things matter.
Another question, because you just hit this. Who holds you accountable?
You? Murph?
I mean, each other, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do